Today we will be discussing fractions. Okay, according to the definition, fraction is a number that is part of a whole. That is part of a whole. Okay, H-O-L-E. So what do we mean by that? Suppose you're given a pizza like this. Let's say this is a pizza circle, and you are divided into two parts. So this is one part, the shaded part, and the non-shaded part is the other part. So the shaded part is one of two. So the shaded part is one part of the two parts that you divided. So the numerator is the number of parts that you have. So this the top number is called as the numerator, and the bottom number is called as the denominator. Okay, the numerator is the number of parts that you have. So if you have one part of the two parts, so you have two parts here. So this is one part, the shaded area, and the non-shaded area is the other part. So that is the total number of parts, which is the denominator. And if you have one part, that means it's 1/2. So this is a fraction, or it's half. So you have half a pizza. Suppose you have another pizza like this, and you divided it into four parts. Now suppose you have the shaded part. So the number of parts that the pizza is divided is 4. That is the denominator. Now you have one part, which is 1/4. So you have one part, that's the numerator. So the number of parts that you have is the numerator, and the number of parts that it is divided into is 4. So the fraction is 1/4, or you have 1/4 of the pizza. Similarly, if the pizza is divided into 8 parts, let's say you have 8 parts divided into 8 parts like this. Okay, 8 equal parts, and say suppose you take 3 pieces out of that. So you take 3 pieces. So this is the first piece, this is the first piece, one, second piece, and third piece. So you have 3 pieces. So you have 3 pieces. So the numerator is the number of parts that you have, so that's 3, and the denominator is the number of parts that is divided into. So it's divided into 8 parts. So you have 3/8 of the pizza. That means that you have 3 pieces out of 8 pieces. Okay, so that's how you define a fraction. Okay, so a fraction is a number that is a part of a whole. That's the official definition, and we write it as, suppose you're given a pizza again, and you divided it to 2 pieces. Okay, so you take one piece out of that. So you have 2 pieces and you take one piece of that, so that's half. So you have half a fraction. Similarly, now consider the same pizza and you divide 4 pieces. Okay, divided into 4 pieces. Now you take 2 pieces. As you can see, if you divide the pizza into 4 pieces and you take 2 pieces out of that, so that fraction is 2/4. Now as you can see, these two fractions are the same. Like the yellow, you're taking 2 pieces out of the 4 pieces, or you're taking 1 piece out of 2 pieces. So it's still 1/2. So these two fractions are called as equivalent fractions. So 2/4 is equal to 1/2, and they are called as equivalent fractions. Okay. Now similarly, let's another pizza where you divide it into 8 pieces. Take 4 pieces out of 8 pieces. So you take 4, that's one, second piece, third piece, and 4 pieces. So as you can see, like you have taking 4 out of 8 pieces, but it's still, as you can see from the 3 skulls or 3 pizzas, half a pizza. So 4/8 is equal to 2/4 is equal to half. 3 of these fractions are called equivalent fractions. So all 3 of these fractions are called equivalent fractions. That means that the value of those fractions is the same. 4/8 is equal to 2/4 is equal to 1/2, or each of them is half or 1/2. Okay. Let's talk about adding fractions together. So how do you add fractions together? So suppose you're given 1 plus 1 divided by 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4 is equal to how much? So how do you find what is 1 plus 1 divided by 4, 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4? So again, let's take a pizza example. Let's divide it into 4 parts. Okay. So for the first fraction, we know that we have one part, which is the numerator. So the one part is the numerator, and there are 4 parts to the pizza. So you have, that's one part. That's the first fraction. Similarly, for the second fraction, you have one part. So again, there are 4 parts in this, but you have one part. You're adding another part to it. So this is the second part. So you get, when you add these two together, you have one part and the second part, which is 2 parts, and you have total 4 parts in the pizza. So you have 2 by 4. And we know that 2 by 4 is equivalent to a half, because as you can see, we have half the pizza when you had 2 slices which are 1/4 of each other. So 2 by 4 or is equal to half. 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4 is equal to half. Let's take another example. Suppose you're given 3 by 8 plus 4 by 8. How do you add this up? So let's again consider the pizza example. And let's say you divide it into 8 parts. Okay. Now for the first fraction, we have 3 parts. So let's say we have 3 parts. This is the first part out of the 8 parts. So this is the second part, and this is the third part. So you have 3 by 8. So this is your first fraction. Similarly, for the second part, you have 4 by 8. So you have 4 pieces that you need to add. So let's say those 4 pieces are this, 3, and 4. So you can see like you added 4 more pieces to the equation. So that means that you have now how many pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have 7 of the 8 pieces. So 7 by 8. So 3 by 8 plus 4 by 8 is equal to 7 by 8. Now, if you carefully look at the examples, when you have the denominator as the same, the fraction will be just basically adding the numerators together with the denominator being the same. So you're just adding 1 plus 1, that's equal to 2, and you're keeping the denominator the same. Similarly, that's what you're doing here. So 3 by 8 plus 4 by 8, you're just adding the numerator, 3 plus 4, 7, and you're keeping the denominator as is. So it's 7 by 8. Now let's consider one more example. 5 by 9 plus 2 by 9. So again, if you follow the previous examples, if you just add the numerators together and keeping the denominator the same, you'll get the fraction, you get the addition of this fraction. So 5 plus 2 is 7, and keep the denominator the same. So 7 by 9. So 5 by 9 plus 2 by 9 is 7 by 9. So that's how you add fractions when the denominators are the same. So in case when the denominators are the same, you just add the numerators together and then just keep the denominator as is. So that's equal to 7 by 9. Now what happens if